Hello and welcome back to Fireside Chats. Today we're speaking about marketing and AI, and I'm with two people who have a lot to say on the subject, co-founders of Sopro, Rob and Ryan. So Rob, I'm going to start with you. You are the Chief Innovation Officer at Sopro. Has there ever been a bigger challenge or opportunity than generative AI becoming mainstream?
I think it's a really interesting question. It's the right way to put it, because it is both a challenge and an opportunity. And I think what's happened over the last 12 to 18 months is the immediate thing that's been jumped on is the ability to produce lots of emails, lots of content, to personalise emails, and really just to put many more things out there. And it feels like an opportunity. What it's done is it's made it so cheap and easy to send high volumes of emails that it's had a massive impact on deliverability, on the ease of getting bad content out there, and it's prompted a backlash from the major ESPs like Gmail and Yahoo, and which is expected. And in reality, it's probably one of the worst things that could have happened to email marketing ever. There are, on the flip side, I think, really big opportunities though with some of the other tasks that generative AI in particular is really, really very good at. And we've used AI in its various guises for a number of years. Before sort of the big LLMs, we were using models to categorise emails and to read customer responses. And what some of the new models like GPT have done have made this far more accessible. And one of the areas that GPT is incredibly good at, and other LLMs, is in summarising content. And in certain ways I think this is going to become revolutionary. It's enabling the kind of tasks that would take a human a long time to do, being able to make them available in seconds. A classic one that comes to mind is customer research. And roll back 5 years, if you're looking through a list of customers, you could look at their job title, you could look at how long they've been there. You're working on very limited information to know whether or not they fit your target profile exactly. You'd love to have the time to click on them, visit their website, visit their LinkedIn profile. But even if that took 5 minutes, as soon as you multiply that by 1,000 prospects, that's 4 days if you didn't sleep. And it's just not possible to get really, really, really well targeted. And for me, that's an area where the use of AI is perfect, because you can train an AI to click on that link and view the website and identify whether that's the right prospect, whether that's the right company. They can view the LinkedIn information, and it's those kind of research tasks that mean that part of an SDR's day is not needed to be done, and it elevates the role. So rather than replacing them, sort of augments that role and enables them to focus on the really important stuff.
Ryan, any thoughts on the subject there? Challenge or opportunity?
So 100% definitely see it as, there's challenges and opportunities. There's a lot of industries at the moment. Marketing is a great example of this, where AI is coming in and just increasingly capable, increasingly able to do what in some cases entire businesses are doing, right? And lowering the cost and making that accessible, and through API in some cases. So you've got threats all over the place popping up, just really prioritising innovation within all of these sectors to stay ahead of the curve, use AI to improve their own propositions. I think we're no different, using AI in lots of different places. And then in terms of kind of internal deployment of AI, there's almost two sides to that as well. You've got the opportunity to save. So Rob mentioned we're using AI to categorise responses. We're using AI to generate messages. We're using AI for objection handling pre-drafts now. Lots of examples of things that would just take a lot of time to do if we, but we could do them manually. But actually that's a cost-saving exercise. And then there's other examples where we're now doing things that they would never be possible before without AI. So it's enabling this sort of next level of performance on so many different fronts for so many different businesses as well. So you can look at it from a few different angles, but it's certainly shaking things up everywhere.
I think there's a lot of hype though, and much as it is a fantastic, I wouldn't even say new technology, actually. The technology is not that new. It's been around for many years. It's just the applications and the processor power have got much more. But I still do feel the AI is coming to take our jobs is a long, long, long way away, and increasingly the really compelling use cases in multiple industries don't hold up under scrutiny. And in sales, AI SDRs are one which I really don't feel works, but you can pick an industry. Lots of copywriters. There was an immediate kind of rush towards AI copy, and for maybe the first 6 to 12 months, copywriting agencies left, right, and centre were unable to compete, and were coming up against AI content. And then increasingly, and we've spoken to 5 or 6 separate agencies who now have just as much work. And sometimes it's writing copy, sometimes it's editing AI generated copy. And I think in the way that technologies have always, in the history of time, produced more work than they've taken away, they're just as busy. And I get in my own background in coding, great. I use GPT to generate probably 40% of my code. It's great. It's maybe more productive. But the 60% I'm doing, I wouldn't even know how to put into a prompt.
Right.
SQL generation. There was a really good talk by the CTO of Snowflake, and they really they want to use GPT so people don't have to write SQL to query data, and they've not been able to solve it. This is one of the biggest data companies in the world. Looking at something that on the face of it is a really simple problem to solve with GPT. You say, write me a query to get me this information, and it's only when you start going down that road that the nuances of the knowledge that you need to have to understand how data fits together and the things that aren't documented make it what he calls an iceberg problem. You can solve the really easy 10%, but the 90%, it just gets increasingly more and more difficult and more ambiguous as you go down.
I think if you, it's almost equally interesting to look forwards as well. So it's moving fast, right? We've all seen the kind of leaps made from GPT-3 to 3.5 to 4, and it's gone from not being viable to the primary engine for a lot of messaging and for a lot of businesses now. In a pretty short space of time, I think the logical path is you can feed in an entire set of coordinates, right? Between any two businesses, right? And it will have the backstory of engagements and the different people that have been involved and everything. And it will be able to produce a custom end-to-end multi-channel marketing campaign, every aspect of it, including display ads, visuals, potentially video as well, avatar-based personalised video that can be deployed, the scheduling of that, an entire marketing campaign that you might typically invest in producing something like that for an audience of 100,000 prospects, and it will run out over a period of time. But I suspect you'll be able to automate every part of that for each prospect. Actually, before too long.
Yeah, I'm less convinced about that.
Give it enough time.
I mean,
give it enough time.
When you really look at the underlying tech that would be needed to do that, it's easy to say, AI can send my emails, but how's it going to send your emails? Emails are sent on a protocol that's existed since the 80s. How's it going to automate a browser? All of these things, it's still, even in that world, just providing a nice UI over the stuff that someone is doing. And it's
3 years that's happening.
Right.
Under 3 years.
Under 3 years.
Under 3 years, yeah.
Under 3 years, what is happening? That marketing doesn't exist anymore.
Every aspect of your touch points will be plotted out, personalised, assets created, and deployed in channel.
So about 5 years ago, I think we had a similar bet that in 3 years, Bitcoin would be the major currency in the world. So if you want to go 2-0, that's fine.
This guy bet me that we were all going to be wearing VR headsets within 12 months, right. about 8 years ago.
I got VR wrong, but still, I mean, the major thing with AI is, so I can't remember the name of it, and it was years and years and years ago. I mean, I learned about it at uni, and this was 2001, so it was the 90s or the 80s. The whole kind of drive for AI at that point was just get enough knowledge in a knowledge base, and it will know everything and it can figure everything out.
But if you're still living in the 80s, you're never going to really grasp the future.
Yeah, but you got more and more and more and more intelligent, and then there came a point where it just got less and less and less intelligent, because what it couldn't handle is the ambiguities. And someone with your personality might not quite understand nuance and ambiguity, but
you normally come
really,
at this from
really
a tech
important.
perspective, which I like. But if you're coming at it from the perspective of a midwit, I can understand why you think like that.
No, but genuinely, and I think these problems exist in LLMs now, and really the debate for me is whether or not that is inherent in the design of an LLM, and whether or not, and if it is, you don't overcome it with bigger models, bigger context windows, bigger processing power.
Yeah, but there's a combination of system-driven frameworks which don't necessarily need to be produced by AI. These are platforms. You're talking about scheduling, asset production, execution, deployment of those assets within contextually within an engagement journey in the right places. There's a few integrations with different platforms and systems to do that.
But so these platforms aren't going to be AI then?
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of AI in them. I think you could literally set and forget, switch marketing on for my company.
I think these are just words.
Well,
the point, you've still got to build these things, and at the point it becomes, I'm not saying it's outside the realms of possibility. It is in 3 years, but let's say it happens at some point. Then why would you even have marketing? Why wouldn't you actually, why wouldn't someone who wants to buy something just go, I'm going to use this all omniscient, omnipotent, whatever, anyway, this all-encompassing AI to just get me the best thing for myself.
And I think the next iteration, beyond that, is exactly that, just buyers being matched with sellers.
How many years will that be?
It knows, you have a business profile, and you can run diagnostics across all of your platforms. It will do that for you, tell you what you need, which systems, etc., products, services, what are you spending money on, and automatically it will know your contract renewal points. It will find where to source, maybe a short list of suitable vendors for each of those, gather reviews, check them out, put forward the suggestion. You'll tick a box, say, yep, go for it. Done.
So I still feel like that's what they're saying, is there is a world where that AI is going to be cleverer than you doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably cleverer than a lot of people already.
There is the obvious word down here. But no, I think I still think there's areas like the creativity. Yes, you could actually have something, you could probably code up some rules now that says review all these contracts and go and find suitable alternatives and do a half decent job. But what about the kind of the spurious things, actually, let's just test this totally brand new thing that doesn't seem to make any sense, and if it works, then great. Let's start that, the spark of creativity.
Let's cut back in 3 years and see who's right on this conversation.
It's a date.
But thank you guys so much for your great debate. Clearly it's a very controversial topic, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks, Sophie.
Thanks, Sophie.